Thousands of containers like this enter Fiji each year, bringing with them vital goods that drive our economy. It is the job of the Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority to scrutinize the contents of these containers before they are released to the importer. All commercial importers in Fiji must adhere to the Customs Act. It requires that all commercial importers are to comply with the following requirements to allow for the release of goods from customs control. They are: a customs entry is required, make an accurate and correct customs entry, payment of all customs charges, keeping of all commercial documents for 5 years and producing the same to customs as and when required, and compliance with all Frca legislative requirements. Charging of duties on imported goods is a major revenue for Frca. Last year, Frca collected $1.8 billion in revenue. Customs brought in $300 million to the national coffers. It is with this background a picture emerges as to why Frca has to be vigilant all the time to ensure that importers pay the right amount of duty on anything they have brought into Fiji. In June this year, a man from Nosori telephoned the police hotline and complained that someone in his area where he was living was selling imported green and black label alcohol at a price much lower than that was in the market. Police sent this information up their ranks and it ended up with Frca.
One of the things about intelligence is just the level of networking too that we have. We have a network that spans across the region. We are a member of a World Customs Organization that has its own intelligence liaison office under the ROCBA umbrella. There's a lot of networking that works around this, the police, immigration. We've got a database that's filled with information, but then also information that comes from the ground. And this has, through the years, we've evolved in terms of data analysis and picking up indicators as to what would constitute a high-risk concern. And this all added to the confiscation of the container.
Officers from the Customs Compliance Department of Frca began the investigations and found out the container with all the illegal liquor and blank DVDs had been initially cleared from the wharf and had been uplifted by the importer. Frca did a physical check on an address in Nosori, and officers saw the container in question inside a private compound. Suspicion arose immediately that the information which was passed by the intelligence source initially of low-cost liquor being sold in this area could come from here. So much so, Frca records showed the container had arrived into the country a few weeks earlier and was only cleared recently and uplifted by the importer. The decision was made there and then to carry out a raid of the premises. Frca border control officers have tracked down a container at a Nosori home which they believe has liquor and blank DVDs that have been smuggled into the country. They had received a tip-off and acted immediately to ascertain whether the smuggled liquor had indeed come into Fiji.
Liquor smuggling is not something that just started now. It's been around for a while. But looking at the revenue components associated to liquor, given it's got a high revenue tag attached to it because of the percentage rate that it has, you will tend to find that a lot of importers will try and evade such things. So for us, it's about identifying this risk as early as possible in the supply chain. We've got a risk profiling system in place whereby this was identified, and that led to the targeting of the container.
For legal reasons, we can't reveal the location of the raid and the name of the importer. But what we can reveal is that the container had about 1,570 boxes. Frca officers confiscated all the liquor and the blank DVDs. They were kept in at least 2 bedrooms inside the house. Liquor was found hidden inside cabinets and under the bed. All the liquor and the blank DVDs were confiscated and taken to a Frca detention center, and we were granted access to film the smuggled goods and liquor.
The goods were misdescribed and the duty component hasn't been paid, the rightful duty that's supposed to be collected.
Can you give us details of when you say the goods were not matching? What actually happened?
Actually, in the import documents, whatever documents that is submitted in terms of invoices were not matching with the actual goods.
Frca officers have found about 800 cartons like this that were supposed to be A4 paper. But inside these cartons were blank DVDs. Then there was the smuggled liquor, 673 cartons of Woodstock, 97 cartons of vet, 103 cartons of black and green label alcohol. The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority has estimated that $1.4 million of duty is to be paid on this consignment. If this case wasn't detected, that's the income amount Frca would have lost. They are not treating this as a criminal case, but are citing the importer for breach of Fiji's customs regulation.
Once we complete our investigations, then there are penalties, harsh penalties that is in the law that we will have to apply to whoever has the company who has breached this system. And the mechanism there is we try to prepare, like we calculated what has been short paid, and we issue a DPO, stop prohibition order, so that the importer wouldn't be able to leave the country until we comply with the law.
Will this be referred to the police, do you think?
This is in a breach of Customs Act in terms of the misdescription of goods and the undervaluation and not paying the correct duty that's supposed to be paid on this. Oh, precocidade.
Frca Border Control and Customs officers have seized 800 cartons of blank DVDs and 750 cartons of alcohol in a raid at a premises in Nosori. All the confiscated goods have now been detained at Frca's detention block in Suva. The manifest showed the importer had brought in only A4 duplicating paper into the country.
We only know that the disc was inside the describing as A4 paper, in the invoice A4 paper, but in actual fact the disc is inside. And we believe in the container they must have stacked the A4 paper in front, because when you open you can see it's like an A4. But at the back of the A4 paper we have these leakers as it is in that cartons like that.
The manifest also revealed the container originated in China, went to Taiwan and then arrived in Fiji.
First of all, we want to thank our intelligence section for giving us the intelligence report on this. And also we have our own informants who are provided with information in regards to this importation and this consignment.
How long will this thing be here?
The investigation is still continuing. Maybe we expecting for 3 months' time we should settle the case and giving the opportunity to the importer to pay duty, and if not, then we'll go ahead and auction the goods.
The importer in this case isn't going to be taken to task under our criminal system. Frca points out the importer has breached Fiji's customs and taxation law and will be penalized under that. Frca has calculated the duty that has to be paid on all the blank DVDs and the alcohol. It amounts to $1.4 million.
First of all, we'll give the opportunity to the importer to pay duty. And if the importer can't pay duty, then we'll have to auction the goods.
Are you able to tell us how much duty is due on this?
The duty for the whole consignment is over 1 million.
That is a huge amount.
That's a huge amount for our revenue.
This is the biggest case of alcohol smuggling that Frca officers have managed to detect and stop. Frca also acknowledges that importers are taking the risk to smuggle in goods because they know Fiji ports are not 100% foolproof to detect cases like this.
Our message is clear, that please do pay the right duty, which don't misdescribe. We will catch you, if not today, tomorrow. The arms of the law is there to catch you. Someday will come, and once we're gonna catch you, you'll get the full brunt of the law.
For us, you might not say that we have a foolproof system, but we're getting there in terms of how we would like to address some of the problems that we have. We cannot address all the problems. The volume of trade continues to increase, but for us it's about working smarter, targeting the high-risk consignment as early as possible on the supply chain before it comes in. And for those that intend to defraud, we will continue to be vigilant in what we do, try and clamp down on some of these issues.
This is the blanks.
Frca says the detection of this smuggling case also reminds them that its officers and investigators are not fully equipped to protect Fiji's borders. While the confiscation of this consignment is an eye-opener, Frca believes importers should keep their business dealings clean and no one will be taken to task. Why would you think an importer would take this bigger risk to try to play around with Fiji laws and try his luck to get this thing? Why would somebody want to do that?
Yeah, as you mentioned that he must be just trying his luck, and if he gets through, then it's good for him. But the compliance with customs is very, very good, and that is why we managed to capture the importer.
Also, Frca is requesting that importers and traders should ensure that they are compliant to the requirements of tax and customs legislations.
You'll always find people who will try and beat the system, but if you can create a culture that leads to compliance, that adhere to the requirements of law, because all the revenue you collect ends up in building roads, getting schools and things like that. The infrastructural work in a developing country, we need things like this. It's the community at large, engaging the community to partner with us in creating this level of awareness is something that we would like to do and work with the community in getting information over to us.